Hi, 안녕하세요. How are you? Nara's Kimchi here. Today, we're going to make japchae. So japchae is like the most popular Korean party food, and also it's easily made into gluten-free at home if you just use a gluten-free soy sauce, because noodle is totally gluten-free and very chewy and delicious. So I'm going to show you how to do it fairly easy. It's not the quickest version, but I'm gonna just try. So let's see how to do it. So the noodles for japchae is made with sweet potato starch noodle, and this is very different from rice noodle or regular noodle, mung bean starch noodle. It's specifically made with sweet potato starch only. But in my opinion, I think you can actually use rice noodle or even mung bean starch noodle, the ones that says bean thread. So whatever you want to use is fine, but it may taste a little bit differently. So because that's really hard. Oh, bye bacon. So I'm using 1 pound of noodle, and I soak this in cold water for the last 2 hours. So once you soak like this, and you see how I'm using my casserole pan, perfect shape for soaking the noodle like this without having to break the noodle. So then I just soak it like this, and I toss and turn a few times until everything got really wet like this. And there's a little more water in the container, and I'll still save it. I'll probably use it when I actually fry. So let's look at the ingredients. I'm gonna start with the sauce because I always like making the sauce mix first, then do the rest of the stuff. So this is brown sugar, and for 1 pound of noodle, the sweet potato starch noodle, we're going to use 8 tablespoons. And if you don't like it too sweet, you could actually reduce the amount of sugar. So one. So I'm actually gonna use only 7 tablespoons of sugar. But for soy sauce, I will put 8. So that's actually half cup. Yep, so that was 8. Just mix it really well. And garlic, this was about maybe 2 tablespoons of minced garlic. And this is powdered beef bouillon, and some from Korea called Dashida. Let me actually show you the container. So this is what the Dashida looks like, and it's like a beef flavored powder, and we use that for so many different things. And if you don't want to use this because you're a vegetarian, you can just skip it and just add a little more soy sauce instead. And so I'll just mix like this, then a little bit of sesame oil. Sesame oil, I want about maybe 5 tablespoons. I may not have enough. Okay, so I had like almost 5 tablespoons, and that's good enough. And as usual, I love black peppers, so I'll put a lot. So that Dashida, I'm gonna put maybe about half tablespoon. Not about this much. You just mix really well. So then you just let it sit. So this is shiitake mushroom, and I got these from Korean store. They sell them here too. Like, you know, even in Mexico, if you go to a large supermarket, they usually have them. And they're very expensive, so I only use a little bit. This time I'm using 5 of it. So I soaked it in cold water for maybe like a half hour. Then I cut into strips like this. And again, the water that I use for soaking, the clean water, I'm going to actually use it for final stir fry part. So I just set it aside like this, and these taste so good. But if you can't get it, other like a white button mushroom is fine, portobello is fine, even the oyster mushroom is fine too. And you could just use the fresh mushrooms. And the vegetable, Bacon's favorite, onions. He's like, no. Then green onions. In Korea, they usually use, instead of green onions, they use spinach. And I really don't like using spinach for japchae because it makes japchae spoil very fast. It does it all the time, and I always tell mom that no, please don't use that. Just use green onion. But she always loves spinach. And thinly sliced carrots like this. And the carrots I really like for japchae because it looks so pretty and it tastes very good with the other ones. Then I just mixed, I just did some 4 eggs, egg beating here. And I'm gonna make it into a thin omelet. So now let's start cooking here. So I'm gonna make an omelet first. If you're a vegan, you could actually skip this one, but I really like eggs, and definitely I'm not vegan. So make sure the pan is very well heated and the oil is hot too. Yeah, don't worry about the omelet looking really bad like it does now, because you're just gonna slice them anyway. Just gonna let it rest. In the same pan, I'm going to add more oil now and start frying the veggies. All right, so I think the vegetables are pretty much all done, and it still looks pretty. And definitely I don't want to caramelize it. So now I'm going to add a little bit of the sauce we have. I feel like I just got a big stain on my blouse now. Yes, I put what, a few tablespoons. If you have a really large pan, you can do the whole thing with noodles and all, but I don't have a large pan, so I'm just going to do a small one. And put everything into my salad bowl. And meanwhile, because I do need some sesame seeds, just for fun. You don't really need it, but if you have it, I'll definitely use it. I'm gonna put maybe about 1 tablespoon. And unless you grind it a little bit, you don't really get the whole lot of flavor from sesame seeds. So definitely use something like this. Yep, and that's it. You just add, you just break a little bit, and it tastes and smells so much better. And I'll put half the noodles. And if you think this gets a little too dry and sticky, then you could always add some water. And remember, we have water from here. Like this. When the noodles start to look very translucent like this, pretty clear and very soft, it's done. So then it can all join the rest of the ingredients into the salad bowl. And I'm going to do exactly the same thing with the rest of the noodles. So it's all done. Just adding to the salad bowl with the rest of the stuff. Just mix. And if the noodle is too long, then you can always cut with scissors. And always the omelette goes very last because it can break. So it's all done, all mixed. And I'm going to add the sesame seeds at the end. Wow, it smells so good right now. With all the vegetables and eggs. I really want those shiitake mushrooms also. Then before serving, you just add a little more sesame seeds. All done just like this. All right, so I'm really hungry right now, and this smells so good. And it's always bacon. Bacon had breakfast, but he said he was hungry. So let's taste this. You can see, like, you cannot believe this gluten-free noodle can be so chewy like this because it's all made out of starch. Bacon, leave it. I'll give you, okay? But you have to stay. Just the right amount of sweet and salty. Omelette too. So good. Bacon. Mickey? Yeah. Our dogs just love noodles so much. So what do you think? It's pretty easy, right? I mean, you could actually skip some of the ingredients, but I'll definitely use the onion and green onion. And if you can, just please use carrots too. Like those three are very basic. And then you could always add eggs if you want, or even meat. You could actually fry meat. But of course, that mushroom was so good. This shiitake mushroom was like really good. So I hope you guys all make this one, especially if you're on gluten-free diet. This is just perfect dish for you. Just use Tamari brand gluten-free soy sauce, and then just until next time, see you.